Welcome to the Tech Pod with LearnMe. I'm your host Pritesh, and our guest for today is Mr. Ankit Biani, an engineer and ISB alumni. Out of the many feathers in his cap, one of them is that he was the category head at PhonePe, a successful co-founder and CEO of MoneyFlow. Please welcome Ankit Biani. Hello, Ankit.
Thanks, Pratish.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Great. So, Ankit, welcome to LearnMe.
Thank you.
So I would like to begin by asking you that can you please tell our listeners a bit about yourself and your journey in the world of finance and entrepreneurship. How did it all start?
Sure. So I hail from a business family. My family is based out of Hyderabad. Uh, I've been working for about 10, 15 odd years now. I was a mechanical engineer, graduated in 2011. Did a variety of roles across my career. Started in automotive, spent time building two companies earlier back in the day, around 2015-16. One of those companies was into health food, and we were building it when Swiggy didn't exist. So life was very different on building stuff in consumer businesses and food businesses back then versus what it is today. And post that, I went to ISB, did an MBA from there, and before starting MoneyFlow, last 4 years, I was working at PhonePe, built out the whole offline business, largely led growth and retention there. So yeah, that's been my journey uh, over the last, let's say, 10, 15 years. Bunch of different things, and I think those things have helped inform some of the decisions that I'm taking when it comes to finance and entrepreneurship. Uh, my first real tryst with it came when I ran my own business, and running your own business teaches you some really, really hard things around managing money, managing cash flows, understanding how things work. So 2014-15 is when I really got a hang of both finance and entrepreneurship and the kind of impact that it can have on any business.
That's amazing, Ankit. Quite a journey you have had. So Ankit, you told like you started food tech app and then ISB and then Moneyflow now. So, what inspired you to start Moneyflow? I mean, as you said, you were having quite a successful career at PhonePe. So, what inspired you to quit that and start Moneyflow?
So I've always had the urge to do something of my own. Uh, I don't know if it comes from the genes, but for me, it's always been that I love to solve problems, right?
Correct.
And one of the problems that I have seen consistently turn up its head is that while over the last decade or so, we've seen an explosion in technology, especially on the digital side. But I still find a huge gap between what people understand when it comes to finance and running your business, or even managing your own money on the personal side, right? So we have a lot of startups like Jupiter just down the road, or anybody else helping people understand more about their money. Same applies to businesses. So what we are doing at Moneyflow, what we aim for is to help brands navigate the complexity when it comes to the digital world. And we believe money is an integral part, and understanding the flow of money in your business is a very, very integral part to actually do better. So
Absolutely.
that's in a sense what we're trying to do.
That's amazing. That shows that you've gone in depth and started money flow. That's amazing to know. So, Ankit, also you told you come from a business family and you yourself are an entrepreneur, and I'm sure that entrepreneurship comes with its own challenges. So, can you share some of the obstacles that you faced while starting money flow, and how did you tackle them?
So I think entrepreneurship is it's a very hard journey, to be very honest. It takes a lot out of you. Almost every day you face an obstacle. I think maybe 2 years ago you would have 3 bad days and one good day. These days you have 19 bad days and one good day. That's the kind of ratio we are dealing with. But challenges wise, there have been numerous ones. For me to start off with was first to find a co-founder and find a technical co-founder for the kind of product that I am building, right? And I met a lot of people before settling with the current co-founder that I have, right? Because it's a long journey and you can't do it alone, and you need people who are aligned with you, will stay the course. Because, like I said, you're gonna have 19 bad days and one good day, right?
True.
That's the bar you gotta set. So, starting from a co-founder, going up to building a product, finding customers, building a team, raising money, almost every single thing is very, very hard, right? So, uh, yeah, like I can't count the number of obstacles because we overcome many every day. But yeah, I think co-founder was one. We recently had a Y Combinator shortlist which we couldn't crack at the last stage. That was a setback. Felt low for a few days, but yeah, we got great feedback out of it, and which we're working on, and things are already progressing.
That's
So
yeah.
yeah.
It's always nice to see the glass half full. That's nice. And Ankit, like, so we have spoken about challenges, and you said that there always every day is a new challenge, every day is a new journey. So now let's talk about the good side. So can you share some milestones or some achievements of yours that you have been super proud of?
So I think we are early in our journey to really say that we have cracked big milestones. We started earlier this year, but one thing we're proud of that it's barely been 6 months since a semi decent version of our product has been out there. We keep improving every day, but in just 6 months we've crossed over 1.5 million transactions on our platform, done north of 120 crores worth of GMV,
Wow.
which we have processed. We have 10 plus customers, some large ones coming through. So we're progressing, and we hope to hit much higher milestones in the coming year. But yeah, not, I wouldn't say that I'm satisfied yet with what we have achieved so far in this year. I think the bar for us is much higher, and we hope to hit some of those higher milestones next year.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Ankit. Godspeed to you. Apart from that, Ankit, like you have shared so much about your journey. So, would you like to share with our listeners any certain lessons or any experiences that have given you, that have added a lot of value to your journey, or you would say like they have given you learnings which will stay with you always?
So I think one thing that has worked for me personally is that I have done a lot of different things over my life. Right, I have worked in consumer internet, I've worked in automotive, I've worked in F&B, I've worked in retail, uh, I've worked in SaaS. So whenever I encounter a problem, having done different things over my life helps me connect the dots, let's say in a different fashion than what other people would do. And also, I'm able to draw learnings from one industry into the other, that you might find analogous problems in one industry but a different way to solve them, right? So I think the other reason for that is also I've taken many risks, right? So for me, I believe that if you're not taking risks, if you are constantly in your comfort zone, it's going to be a struggle. We're changing very, very fast in this world today. The only way to stay relevant is to constantly reinvent yourself, right? So be having the ability, having the courage to keep taking risks and going with the flow. I think you should enjoy what you're doing. You should constantly feel that you're learning. The moment you feel that your learning curve is not at the pace that you wish it to be, I think you should look for something where you get that kind of a learning curve, right? That I think is the only thing is that's going to keep you relevant over a course of time. because we are in a very, very fast changing world.
Absolutely, absolutely rightly said, Ankit. Ankit, you spoke about staying relevant and continuously learning, and I'm sure as a founder, you always have to be on your toes. So, how do you make time to continuously learn and to stay updated, especially with the latest? You said we are changing at a very fast pace. So, how do you keep yourself updated with the latest trends in fintech?
So for me, I am hardly there on Instagram.
Mhm.
Uh, I generally follow more long form content. I have a curated list of people who I follow and who I consume content from. They could be newsletters. I'm a very heavy podcast listener. Uh, read more blogs. Don't get enough time to read books, which I want to change. But I think you got to move away from just the dopamine hit that you get from short form content and really go deeper into learning new concepts and areas and fundamentals. I think having curiosity is very, very important. And that curiosity doesn't necessarily have to be in one place. Just being curious about things helps you understand the world a little bit better. And that gives you an edge over, let's say, what somebody else might be doing. Right?
True. So I think it's like when you said short and long form content, it's like what we had back in our days when we didn't have social media. I think that has really impacted the attention span
Yes.
of the viewers. We are so like used to seeing that 60-second reel, 60-second shot that even I think long videos also people prefer on watching it at a faster speed, which is reducing.
That's true.
Yeah, great. So, Ankit, apart from that, we at LearnBay are, we encourage upskilling. We promote upskilling, and it is for both. Either you want a shift in your career, or you want a promotion, or a better position. And we get so many inquiries from people who are not from the technical background, and for them too we have got special classes, where we give them a brief of how the tech part of Python and all the programming languages and all that works, and then we slowly move them into that. So, how do you think that platforms like LearnBay are contributing towards individuals' growth into the fintech world?
Sure. So I think giving more practical exposure
Mm-hmm.
to younger audiences or let's say younger learners is very, very important for them to excel in their careers, because you can read up all you want, but when it comes to real life problem solving, when it comes to working on things where you have a deadline, where you have pressure, where you need to learn things on the go, uh, just having practical exposure can completely change the outcome that you draw, right? So I think we were talking before about the Project Innovation Labs that you guys have. I think it's a great initiative, uh, because it gets every student to really learn on the go and gets exposure to what industry problems are, right?
Correct.
And as a recruiter, for me, if somebody can come and get going on day zero versus us having to get them through a learning curve for about 1 to 3 months, it's a world of difference. Right? You'd always prefer people who have already done something or have some knowledge and can get started much, much faster. So I think that's a great initiative and it'll really help people to upskill themselves faster and land those careers that they want to.
That's great. Also, Ankit, we have got a lot of learners who come with a experience of 10 years. We have people who come with an experience of 20 years who have worked abroad, and they want to venture into the world of data science and AI and ML, and upskill themselves. So what would you like to say, or what is your take on that? I mean, for people who are experienced already, who come with the industry experience and they want to upskill, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think AI is the flavor of the season,
Yes.
and it looks like it's going to be there for a long time. Uh, See, the best way to upskill, and this is my personal opinion, different people have different opinions about it, but I think the best way to learn something is by doing it, right?
Absolutely.
So let's say if you're interested in working in Meta or Flipkart or PhonePe or whatever else for that matter, right? Uh, One of the easiest ways is to just talk to people on what kind of work do they do on a day-to-day basis. Uh, Most people don't reach out, right? Everybody is okay to help. Nobody says no to helping somebody else if you just ask them politely and properly and in a professional fashion, right? So if you can just reach out to others, ask on what kind of problems are they working on, what kind of solutions do they devise, and then go backwards from there and see whether you have those skill sets in you, or do you need to upskill yourself in those specific areas, right? So a blend of doing practical projects on the side, right, so that you get exposure to those environments. I think developers almost always have something on the side going on, right? Almost
True.
on every weekend they build out side projects, do open source stuff. I think that's a great way to continuously learn and be relevant. And if you blend that with what's actually going on in the places where you want to be, then I think you're already at the forefront of what you need to do to continuously stay ahead in your career.
Absolutely. Well said, Ankit. Sanjit, lastly, for all our listeners who are eager to venture out into the finance and entrepreneurship space, what advice would you give to them, or any anything from your own experience?
So I think, like I said, take risks. If you don't take risks, you're not going to land anywhere. Uh, Second is that if you want to start something, or if you want to explore something, go talk to people in that space, which is when you get an idea of what the ground reality is. You will find hundreds of people on the road with ideas, and when you find somebody building on an idea that you thought of, you kind of tend to think that, you know what, I thought of this idea but I never did anything about it, and while look at that individual and they're doing great stuff around it, right? It's simply that they just went out and had more conviction, right? So sometimes you got to have conviction, not to say that you just blindly jump into an idea and start executing. Like, the days of doing laundry as a service are gone, right? That's not something that you want to spend your time on if you really want to build a good business or a big business. Sure, you can do it if you want to build a small enterprise of your own, right? But talking to people, taking risks, understanding the ground reality, evaluating how good you are in doing certain things, because it's going to be hard. So while you might not have the domain expertise, but do you have the perseverance to go on, right? So it's a blend of all of these things. My personal the way that I have gotten through obstacles for me is by talking to people who have been ahead of me, people who have seen that journey before. When you go and talk to them, that's when you kind of get the realization that, okay, even we'll be able to cross this, right? So that comfort comes from talking to people who have done something before. So
Correct.
if you reach out, maintain those relationships, you also get an understanding of what's going on, what's not going on, and so on and so forth. So that would be my advice.
Okay. And Ankit, I would like to ask you, like, how important would you say, as a startup co-founder and CEO, is networking?
Supremely important. It's see, the world runs on networks. That's my belief. The more you know people, the more you're able to sell, whether it's a customer, an investor, a colleague, whoever for that matter, right? So, building relationships, building the right kind of networks are supremely important for you to be able to succeed in whatever endeavor you're going to choose. Uh, as you go up the career ladder, irrespective of you running your own business or in your career, you need to realize that, at the highest levels, the roles come through referrals, right? They don't really come through you having applied somewhere and getting in and all of that, right? So that's all a function of the kind of network that you've built. uh, that is where really the kind of openings will turn up for you, right? So maintaining that attitude on constantly trying to know more about people, having curiosity about what somebody else does, helping them out without thinking whether you will get something back or not, is what really gives you networks, right? So it's not a, you can't think of it as a two-way street.
As a transaction.
Yes, you always got to think of it as a one-way street. Two-way will automatically turn up, right? So the more you give, the more you get.
Like an act of kindness. Okay, so last question, Ankit. Uh, as you said, you were talking about ideas and conviction. So there are so many people who come to, metro cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Delhi with so many ideas, and they want to start a business or, something of their own. Um, so I have two questions over here. First is, suppose there is a person coming from a small town with a very beautiful idea. So where does this person begin is my first question. How do they start? Suppose that person has come to Bangalore. Now, how do they start? And the second is, there are many people whom I know who have amazing ideas they want to start, but they do not have the capital. So how does somebody approach for an investment, for a funding, and what message would you like to give to these people? So my two questions.
So if I take the first question, which is somebody coming from outside and coming into a large city with big dreams and wanting to start something of their own, uh, it's a great endeavor. It's a risky endeavor. It's a difficult endeavor, right? The easiest way, like I said earlier as well, to get started is just to talk to people. Let's say that you've come with an idea of building a brand which is selling microphones, right? For example, that you find that creator economy is booming. Let me just start selling microphones and the stuff and all of that, right? Uh, you first need to understand that in order to be able to build a business in this front, what do you need? You need sourcing capabilities, you need distribution capabilities, you need branding capabilities, right? You need to understand your customer. So start backwards from customer, that who are you essentially solving a problem for? Uh, why are they going to use your product? How well do you understand about their need state? What you actually need is to validate whatever you're thinking first, right? Whether it is truly something that is needed by people or is it just in your head.
Correct.
And it's not so hard to validate. It doesn't take a ton of money, right? Whether it be an application software that you want to build, whether it be a physical product that you want to sell, whether it be a service, right? So whatever it is, you can start small, learn from it, whether there is enough utility in it, whether people are ready to pay you, whether you have the capability to build something around it. The other more important thing is that, are you truly interested in it?
Correct.
Because if you're not very very deeply interested in it, you will give up sooner than later, right? It is a long road, it's not a short road. If you're not genuinely happy building it, if you're not genuinely satisfied by solving those problems for your customers, at some point of time you'll feel like, do I really want to do this?
True.
What am I making out of my life, right? Those questions will come to you. They come to the best of the best in the world, right? So you need to have that curiosity and that love for that problem, right? So start small, observe, move very very fast, iterate, and you'll be on the right kind of path. So, and be focused on the customer. It's easier said than done. It's cliched, I know, but it's super hard. It's super hard for me, for anybody to follow, because there's so much distraction, so much noise, so much thought process that's going on, that you tend to lose sight of what really is needed, right? So your investors are telling you something, your colleagues are telling you something, your co-founder is telling you something, the world is telling you something, Twitter is telling you something, LinkedIn is telling you something. What the hell do you do, right? So you got to sharpen, really, really focus on what's working, what's not working, and then just double down on it. To answer your second question, which is that
About funding.
fundraising. See, fundraising is a means to an end, right? Fundraising is not the end, or I don't think fundraising is something that it just lets you breathe more easily, but also brings a lot of pressure along with it. At the end of the day, you got to build a business that makes money, that solves problems for people. Funding or no funding, that's what you got to do if you really want to build a business, right? Uh, the best way, if you are not somebody who has the right kind of connections or networks, or is not able to get the right kind of face time with investors, is to simply show traction. Your numbers, your business should speak for itself. And if it is really showing those kinds of movement, you will attract the right kind of capital, which will help you take your business to the next level. It's a choice whether you want to, get funded or not. It's also very business specific. I don't think every business should be going after raising money. Uh, Choose it wisely. It comes with its own perks and pitfalls. But whatever you're doing, at the end of the day, it's your traction. It's the kind of customer love that you're seeing for whatever you've built is what is going to determine longevity and is going to determine any kind of capital infusion that you get in your business.
Great, great. I think that was very, very insightful. So thank you so much, Ankit.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for the wonderful insights and the learnings that you provided. I'm sure like so many budding entrepreneurs are going to draw inspiration from you. So thank you. So my dear friends, with us we had Ankit Biani, the co-founder and CEO of Moneyflow. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If yes, do not forget to give this video a big fat thumbs up. Do share it with all your friends and subscribe to LearnWay.